Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Awesome Learning, and today's topic is sex determination from the chapter Principles of Inheritance and Variations. Children, we have done this topic sex determination in previous classes like in class 10th. There was also an introduction about it in class 8th. So, just to brush on your memories, I'll let you know that human beings are having 23 pairs of chromosomes. Out of those 23 pairs, one pair is sex chromosome and 22 pairs are the autosomes. Okay, children? 22 are the autosomes and one pair is the sex chromosome. We also came to know this that when these chromosomes, there are two types of sex chromosomes, X and Y, and these chromosomes decide the sex of a child or a baby, right? If the fetus is given two X chromosomes, then it is a female, and if the fetus is given one X and one Y, then it is a male. So this was a basic information which all of us know. Now let's see what we are supposed to add on in the knowledge that we already have. So children, you see the first point, it says the initial clue about genetic or chromosomal mechanism of sex determination can be traced back to some of the experiments carried out in insects. So generally, whatever we know today, we have been doing lot many experiments, and these experiments were basically carried out on insects or plants. So a clue was provided to us from the experiments which were carried out in insects. Second point says the cytological observation. Cytological observation means the observation about the cell structure of the cell. Okay, the cytological observations made in number of insects led to the development of the concept of genetic or chromosomal basis of sex determination. So later on, Henking in 1891 could trace a specific nuclear structure all through spermatogenesis in few insects. So Henkin was the person who tried to make a specific, a prominent nuclear structure all through spermatogenesis. When you know what is spermatogenesis, a formation of sperms, so he tried to make a nuclear structure through spermatogenesis in few of the insects. And what did he observe? He observed that by 50% of the sperms received this structure after spermatogenesis. Which structure? The nuclear structure. Okay, what Henkin saw, Henkin said that this nuclear structure was provided to only 50% of the sperms. This nuclear structure was received by only 50% of the sperms after spermatogenesis, and the other 50% of sperm did not receive it. What did they not receive? They did not receive the nuclear structure. So I hope you understood what I mean to say here. I'll show you one more example here. You see what Henkin said. Henkin in 1891 said that during spermatogenesis in some insects, only 50% of the sperms received a nuclear structure. Okay, after the spermatogenesis, only 50% of the sperms received the nuclear structure and the other 50% did not receive the nuclear structure. So Henkin called the structure as X body. So Henkin called these structures as X body. He gave the name of the structure as X body, but he could not explain its significance. Okay. Now further investigations by other scientists led to the conclusion, then they came to the conclusion that X body of Henkin, whom Henkin was calling X body, was in fact a chromosome. So Henkin, the structure to whom Henkin was calling X body, it was actually a chromosome, and that is why it was given the name X chromosome. Okay, I hope I am clear with the thing that Henkin called the structure as X body, and later on we called it as X chromosome. So X chromosomes are the ones which have the nuclear structure. The other 50% of the sperms did not receive any nuclear structure. That is why, if you remember, I tell you that Y chromosomes do not carry any genes. I always say this, children, that Y chromosomes do not carry any genes. Why they do not carry any genes? Now the point must be clear to you, because Y chromosomes did not receive any nuclear structure during the spermatogenesis. So I hope this point is now clear to you. Then children, there is a thing called male heterogamety or female heterogamety. Now all of you will pay attention here. Males produce two types of sperms, and females produce only one type of gamete, right? In humans also, we females, we always produce only XX chromosomes, right? We do not produce Y. So we are not heterogamete. We are not heterogametic. Hetero means different types of gametes. So we do not, females do not produce different types of gametes. They produce only one type of gamete, and that is X. But males, human males, produce two types of gamete, either X or Y. So they are heterogamete. So if in exams they ask you, give an example of male heterogamety, you can write the Drosophila or humans as an example. Now you also must know this, that female heterogamety is also there. That means in this case, females will produce two types of gametes and male will produce only one type of gamete, just the opposite. See, females produce two types of eggs and male produce only one type of sperm. Example, ZW is produced by females. So see, there are two types of gametes, and ZZ type is produced by the males. So they are not heterogametic. Males are not heterogametic, but females are heterogametic because they are producing two types of eggs. One is Z and the other type of egg is W. So this type is found in birds. So if they ask you to give an example of female heterogamety, you can give the example as birds. So I hope I am clear with the topic male heterogamety and female heterogamety. Okay children, heterogametes means, hetero means different and gametes, you know what are gametes. So two different gametes due to presence of different chromosomes. And homogametes means similar type of gamete due to the presence of similar chromosomes. So we will be discussing each type here further in the next video, because in this video I'll just be explaining the sex determination and male and female heterogamety. I hope I am clear.